He wasn't skipping school. He wasn't being lazy. He was exhausted. The library had rules, printed neatly on white paper and taped to the wall near the front desk. No food, no noise, no sleeping. Eleanor Price, head librarian for 23 years, knew those rules by heart. She'd enforce them gently but firmly, the way she believed order should be kept, quietly, without drama. That afternoon, sunlight filtered through tall windows, dust drifting in slow motion. Eleanor looked up from her desk and noticed a boy slumped over a table in the back row. Head down, arms folded, not moving. Eleanor walked toward him, heels soft against the carpet. "Excuse me," she said, keeping her voice low. "You can't sleep here." The boy stirred, eyes fluttering open. He looked around, disoriented, as if he'd fallen into the wrong dream. "I'm sorry," he murmured. Eleanor gestured toward the exit. "You'll have to leave." The boy nodded, gathered his backpack, and stood. When he turned, Eleanor noticed the dark circles under his eyes. Not from staying up late for fun, from something heavier. His name was Noah Carter, 17, a junior in high school. Quiet enough to be invisible. He spent most afternoons at the library because it was warm, because it was quiet, because it stayed open later than anywhere else that didn't ask questions. He walked out into the cold without arguing. He was too tired to. From Eleanor's desk, it looked simple. A teenager sleeping in the library, a rule broken, a correction made. She returned to her paperwork. But something nagged at her. The way he'd apologized, not with annoyance, but with relief. Like he'd been allowed to stop pretending. Noah hadn't slept more than 3 hours the night before. He'd closed the diner at midnight, scrubbed grease from his hands, then walked 2 miles to the basement apartment he shared with his mother. She worked nights. He worked evenings. They rarely crossed paths anymore. Noah did his homework between customers, studied on buses, slept wherever his body finally gave in. The library had been his last stop before tutoring. An hour later, Eleanor noticed Noah's backpack still by the door, unclaimed. She hesitated, then picked it up. It was heavier than she expected. A textbook slid out, pages filled with neat handwriting, a schedule, a folded paper with the school's letterhead. She didn't mean to read it. She just saw the words. Academic Probation Review. Strong. P. Eleanor requested Noah's public assistance file, something librarians rarely did, but could under specific circumstances. The system took a moment to load. When it did, Eleanor's breath caught. Attendance, perfect. Grades, strong. Employment, verified. Housing, unstable. Notes from a guidance counselor. Student shows signs of exhaustion. Balancing work, caregiving, and school. At risk, not disengaged. Eleanor leaned back in her chair. She'd enforced a rule. She'd missed a truth. Eleanor walked the aisles, looking for Noah. The tables were empty, chairs pushed in neatly. She felt a pang of guilt she couldn't quite place. Rules mattered, but so did judgment. And judgment required seeing the whole picture. The next day, Noah returned, earlier this time. He kept his head up, eyes open, posture stiff with effort. Eleanor watched him from afar. Watched him read, write, fight sleep like it was an enemy. At 4:17 p.m., his head dipped, just for a second. Eleanor stood. This time, she didn't say a word. She placed a small folded note on the table beside him and walked away. Noah opened it. Study room B is empty. Lights are on. Take the couch. EP. Noah looked up. Eleanor met his eyes and nodded once. Study room B had a couch no one used. It wasn't comfortable, but it was quiet. Noah slept for 40 minutes. Deep. Uninterrupted. When he woke, there was a bottle of water on the table. No questions asked. Eleanor documented the accommodation properly. She updated the internal notes. She followed procedure. But she also followed instinct. Noah didn't abuse the kindness. He studied harder, stayed awake, longer, slept better. His grades rose. A month later, the school requested a meeting. Eleanor attended. So did Noah's counselor. They spoke about effort, balance, support. No one mentioned the rule. They mentioned the student. Noah graduated on time. A small scholarship followed. Then another. On his last day at the library, he returned a book and left a note. "Thank you for seeing me when I couldn't keep my eyes open." Eleanor folded it carefully and placed it in her desk drawer. Sleeping in the library was against the rules. But exhaustion isn't laziness, and silence isn't failure. Sometimes the difference between punishment and progress is simply reading the file.